Well, back in July, Pascale St-Onge became Canada's Heritage Minister, though you can be forgiven if you missed that news because around roughly the same time, Meta was removing Canadian news articles from its platforms, and now Google is threatening similar action.
So Minister St-Onge joins us live now in the studio to talk further about this. Minister, thanks so much for joining us. Maybe we can start really quickly by, telling our viewers why Canada's Online News Act was made into law in the first place.
Well, the reason why our government moved forward with that bill is because in the past decade, we've seen more than 500 newsrooms close their doors around the country, which means that thousands of journalists are no longer covering local news, local administration, and this is very dangerous for our democracy. We know that we need counterbalance, and we need to make sure that people in power are accountable for their decision. So bringing this bill forward was about making sure that there is commercial agreements between both tech giants and our newsrooms, because two very big tech giants, Facebook and Google, have captured around 80% of the advertisement market. So we need to correct that imbalance.
Certainly working in the industry, we've seen the layoffs and the changes that have happened year over year. So have there been any reversals, any positive changes in jobs or in expansion of advertising revenues for, media in this country after these acts have come into play?
Well, the act is not actually fully implemented right now. It was voted last spring in Parliament, but it's going to become fully active around mid-December, because right now we are consulting on regulation directions that we're going to give to the CRTC so that they can actually implement this act. So right now, we've opened a period of consultation that lasted 30 days. It ended on Monday, and now we're reading all the comments that we received both from tech giants but also newsrooms and the general public about this bill. And we're going to try to find the right balance so that we can have good deals between tech giants and newsrooms.
Yeah, a similar thing happened in Australia in 2021 with Meta blocking, news websites and contents from social media platforms. But a week later, they kind of reversed that and came to this decision that, okay, we're going to do these deals with publishers and companies, but it was never made into law there. So do you think Canada can learn something from what Australia did to get it resolved here in our country? Yeah,
well, we're seeing that there's two different reactions to the bill. With Google, since the beginning of the legislation process, they have participated. They gave us their comments, and we know that we have a common interest, which is to make sure that the newsrooms are vibrant in Canada. With Facebook, they decided that regulation wasn't for them, that they didn't want to share their huge profits with Canadian newsrooms, and they decided to ban Canadians from sharing news with their family and friends. So, clearly, as you mentioned, this intimidation tactic was used elsewhere in the world. And we know that there's other jurisdictions around the world that are moving forward with similar legislation. New Zealand is. Even the United States are moving forward. And Facebook is sending messages around the planet that they just don't want to share their profit and they don't want to be regulated. So that's why it's so important that we stay strong, that we keep on moving forward. And I know that we're going to probably have an agreement with Google, and it's going to bring new revenues to our Canadian newsrooms.
I'm curious about that because Google, I think, is a bigger search platform than Facebook, and Meta, Facebook, really seems to have called Canada's bluff on this. What is Google looking for, and what is Canada willing to offer in return, or what is the federal government willing to offer in return to sort of make sure that it doesn't happen on Google? Because that is a much more significant driver of, searching for news.
Well, from our conversations with Google, and we're still communicating, what we understand is that they want predictability. So they want to know exactly how much they are going to pay. They also want to know how many deals they need to strike before they can get an exemption from the CRTC so that they don't end up in an arbitration process. That's their goal. They want a clear path to getting an exemption. So we're working with them and also with newsrooms to find that pathway.
And another interesting thing is, how people consume news. It's really online these days. However, with the Online Canada News Act, some data has shown that it hasn't decreased people's use of these social media platforms. So I'm kind of curious what kind of pressure the government or people can put on Meta to get them to do something, because they want to be in the driver's seat, and it looks like they kind of have the upper hand.
Yeah, I think it's, people make their own choices. And I know that especially young people have taken the habit of getting informed through social media. Unfortunately, right now, since news was banned, people mostly have access to cat videos, which are great, but also a lot of disinformation and misinformation.
Yeah.
So I hope that this encourages people to actually go and visit their local news websites and visit their media platforms, because we need to support our news outlets. They play an essential role in our democracy, in our society, and we need journalists. This is what we're fighting for, and it's so important for everyone.
Yeah, certainly not navel-gazing, but we certainly would agree that we definitely need journalists.
We're a little biased here.
Yeah, I understand that indeed. Okay, Minister St-Onge, obviously a conversation that will continue. Thanks for joining us and sort of bringing us up to date so far this morning.
Thank you so much. Nice
Thank
to
you
meet
for having me.
Good to see you.
Thank
you very much.